welcome to episode 155 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm your host, Dilz. Hey guys, Dilz from the future here. Not like future, but like sort of the future. As you can tell, this is actually episode 156, not 155. This was recorded before 154. Everything got jumbled around. You don't need to worry about it, but I do reference past episodes, so do the math yourself or just ignore it completely. All right, back on to the episode. And join with me this week is Heartless.
Hey,
how's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Well, I'm doing okay. Well, let me give some teasers of what we're going to talk about this episode. We're going to double up because Heartless, I don't know if you made the point, or you said, or somebody else made the point to you.
Yeah.
But we're never going to catch up on these updates unless we start speed running them.
Yeah, I was thinking it, but my buddy always messaged me and he's like, yo, you're not going to catch up till like next summer. So we better double down so we can get to some sweet content.
I was thinking it too, because I was like, it's just, it's going a little bit slower than I had once planned out. But that's okay. We're going to be covering 2020's June and July updates this episode. So we got the two J's going on. But before we get into all of that, how are you doing? How's life?
Life is good. I've got 2 days left. So we're recording on Wednesday after work. I've got 2 days left of work before Christmas break. So I am
There's
really
gonna be a weird
ready for that.
Continuity issue with this episode. So a quick disclaimer. We're recording 155 before 154. Strange, I know, but don't worry. Just if anything doesn't make sense, it's because this got recorded after or before 154. Anyways, yes, sorry, go on.
I was like, wait, are you? I wasn't sure where you're going with that one, Dills, but
I was like thinking, I'm like, it might get confusing.
Yeah, better get it out of the way now.
Yeah, so we're good. We got that covered. Anyways, we can go back to what you've been up to.
We'll figure it out. So basically, yeah, life's been good. I got 2 days left of work, and it's I'm like really ready for a break. Like I love my job and all, but I need some sleep, man. I'm pretty tired.
Are they driving you crazy?
No, the kids aren't driving me crazy. I'm just like, just kind of a little burnt right now.
You need a break.
I just need a break.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah.
And I feel that the kids are the same way. So we've had a nice chill Christmas themed week.
Nice.
It's been good doing lots of fun stuff and going on walks to the park, and it is like a wild storm going on right now where I live. So
is there?
It started about 3, like right when I got home at like 3:30. Just a wild storm,
boy.
Heavy rains, heavy wind. So work's been chill. I got my report cards done, and then I've just kind of been cruising the last.
Oh, that's fun. That's so cool. I used to want to be a teacher. Maybe I might have mentioned it on a podcast in the past, but I used to want to be a teacher. At some point, I just thought it would be so cool. And then it's funny you mentioned the report cards. I'm like, my only memory of it is being the kid. And I'm sure you have the memories of being a child, getting your report cards and seeing the teacher's thoughts. And it's how interesting. How is it being on the other end? Is it
That's
wild?
A great question. So now the thing you have to remember is yes, every kid is individual, but some of them have similar weaknesses and strengths, right? So if I did every report card without copy pasting at least a little bit of it, they would take 100 hours to do.
Sure, yeah.
Which is a real big RuneScape grind, So it took me, I did them in one weekend, and it took me 12 or 13 hours I spent working on them. So 2 6-hour days. And it was a grind, and that was with a lot of same comments for certain kids, read every day, watch your organization, stuff like that. Kids with messy desks and stuff. And then for specific ones that were really really high achievers, I would write slightly different things, and then if they were really low achievers, I would have different strategies for their parents to help them.
Okay.
But sort of if your kid struggles with reading, there's 3 or 4 in my class, they're all gonna have the sort of same comments for their parents to be able to help them, spend time reading alongside of them, get them to tell their strategies to you, stuff like that. Yeah, so they were a grind for sure, but it was I try to give some individual some personalized details for each one. I definitely spent a good half an hour on each report card at least. So
nice.
I had a good think about what the kids do, and I have like a grade book with like all of my assessment, so it spits out like the number what they should get. But to be fair, like in elementary, it's a little bit subjective as well.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Now, I remember teachers kind of not. I don't know if they were threatening it or they're trying to make you feel bad or guilty, but they bring up all the time how like we have to mark your tests on our basically our free time. I have to do it at home. Is that the case for you as well? Like you have to do a lot of
but
marking.
I do marking at home, but I try to make my life as easy as possible. So I usually end up working like Sunday night for a couple hours. But to be fair, like I only work like 7-hour days. Like I get to work around 8 o'clock, maybe like 7:30 some days, and then I leave at like 3:30. So it's not like a grueling long day till 5 o'clock. I get home pretty early. I usually try not to stay at school too late unless I have a lot of prep to do.
True. Okay, that's cool.
So yeah, it definitely like balances out for sure. But yeah, there are weeks where you work like 60 hours, and then there are weeks where you work like 35. So, but in the end, I'd imagine it balances to like just above 40 is my guess. There's just like always shit you could be doing, Like I could always be prepping or making stuff better or doing research, but at some point you have to be like, all right, that's you got to have some kind of balance. So that's been pretty nice to sort of have that out of the way. What about you? How's life been?
Yeah, just working away. Nothing. It's funny. I've been like my gaming routines are like all over the place, and you know what? Well, let me ask you this. Have you been gaming like your whole life? Like, would you consider video games a big part of your life?
Yeah, I'm a lifelong gamer.
Yeah, me too. And like in high school, I remember I could spend like 12-hour days playing video games. I could sit down and play them all day. It's a little bit tougher now. Like I do need to get up and like stretch every couple of hours, but I could if I really wanted to, I could spend the whole day doing it. And it's funny, my girlfriend's like, I don't know how you can sit and do the same thing for like more than 4 hours because she doesn't have any hobbies like that.
True. Yeah, it's no different to watching like an entire TV series in one day.
It's like binging it. And so anyways, what has happened is like a week and a half ago I threw my back out and it sucks because I can't really move. I can't do too much, and you're supposed to be resting it. So I'll spend my whole weekend kind of like filling it up with video games and stuff. But like I've mentioned it before, and I don't want to become like a repeat. I don't want to repeat myself too much. But with work, me stuck in my office all day, sometimes the last thing I want to do is be playing more on my computer.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've had this conversation before. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Before as a teacher, it was the same thing for me.
Yeah, and it's like tough because I haven't played like the only computer game I play now is RuneScape, and I don't play that as much as I used to, but I still play it all throughout the day. But there's like so many games on my computer that I just don't touch because I just don't want to be on this computer any more than I have to.
Right.
So anyways, I'm juggling that between like playing like PlayStation and stuff, but I'm in this like weird, I don't even know what you want to call it, like a vibe, but I've noticed like I've been watching Game of Thrones. I watch like an episode a night. I've been reading the Dune series.
Oh yeah, that's a great series.
Yeah, have you read it?
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Okay, cool. I'm only on the first book, but it's pretty good so far.
The first book is one in my top 5 favorite books, but I'm a big sci-fi nerd, so.
Okay, cool. Like I really enjoy fantasy and stuff.
Yeah. It's a
really as similar as sci-fi is to just straight fantasy, they're like also very different.
They are very different for sure.
Yeah, you have to like there's some terminologies like just the way sci-fi is written that you have to kind of like wrap your head around. Same if you were coming from like mystery novels coming to fantasy. There's just things you'd have to like
in fantasy and sci-fi books I find have a lot of front loading because they're like world building books.
Yeah.
Whereas like mystery, like we know how the world works, so you can kind of get right into the story.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If you say they live in New York, everyone kind of knows what that looks like. But if you say they live on the planet, I don't know, Targon, nobody knows what that is. So you got to really build that world up, which is what I think.
Family who are rulers on this planet, they ruled it for hundreds of years. You're just like, oh my god.
So I find sci-fi you have to kind of slog through, and fantasy on some books through a certain amount of world building and front loading before you can get to a good level of story.
Yeah, it's almost like you will be confused for at least the first 50 pages. And then you'll be like, oh.
That puts a lot of people off, and I totally understand that.
yeah, it can be
Whereas
tough.
Dune, for
definitely.
example, it takes like a good 100 pages for the story to get going, which is like pretty wild.
Yeah, and a lot of fantasy books. Like, a little. This is a little bit of a tangent, but a lot of
That's
like
what
these
we're all
types of
about here.
books. Yeah, exactly. You're constantly flipping between the end of the book and the beginning. You're reading the appendixes to be like, what does this word mean? It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
we're gonna teach you the physics of this world, and you're like, oh, okay, cool.
Um, that's cool though. I'm glad you're reading Dune. I read it in grade 11, and it was just like it was a really big moment for me. I really enjoyed that book, and a few
Well, the
books have
movie's
caught my
coming out in
attention like that.
2021.
That's true. Yeah, the movie looks sick.
It does look cool, and it made me like, I have this problem. Like, oh, there's a book about it. I should read the book first, and then
Yeah, that's fair though.
I haven't even seen the Harry Potter series because I'm like, I'm going to
funny,
read the
man.
book one day.
Yeah,
But
Denis Villeneuve, I believe is his last name. He's French, so Quebecois. He's a Canadian director, and he did a movie called Arrival, which is an unreal adaptation of a short story. And I was a huge fan of that movie. So if anyone's out there and wants to check out like a chill sci-fi movie, that's definitely worth checking out.
Arrival. Cool. Make a note of it.
Arrival. He also did Blade Runner 2049, which was also like a very visually stunning movie in my opinion.
True. I have got to see those movies still. I've read the book. Haven't seen the movie yet, though.
Yeah, it's one of my recent favorite movies for sure.
I'll also add it to the list. I'm terrible at watching movies. My list is like, I still have to watch Avatar. It's like a decade old.
Oh, the one with the blue people? Yeah.
Yeah. It looks so good.
Yeah.
But I'll get there one day. But anyways, my point was, so I've been trying to play like my PlayStation a bit on play some story. I was trying to play The Witcher 3, but I was like, I felt like I was getting overwhelmed of like immersing myself in somebody's created stories. Because I was watching Game of Thrones, I'm reading Dune before bed, and now I'm playing Witcher 3, and I was like, there's too many different realms that I'm like living in right now.
Yeah, it can be a lot. I played Witcher 3 when maybe last summer before I made my Iron Man, when I was feeling burned on my main. And great game, by the way. But I was a few years late to the party, but I still really enjoyed it. But I get what you mean. You can't really be doing too many like deep dive sci-fi things at the same time.
Well, I was talking with my girlfriend, and I was like, it feels like I'm trying, like, people use like those type of mediums as like escapism, as a way to like just take a break from like whatever the stress you have going on. And I'm not saying I have a lot of stresses going on, but I felt like I was like doing way too much of it, because I was just like constantly living in these three different worlds, and I was like, I gotta take a fucking break. I can't do all three of these at the same time. It's just too much. Or maybe it's just too much like fantasy going on. I can't keep track of all the politics that are going on in all these different worlds.
Yeah, that's fair. Plus RuneScape, which is like another escape. There's just a lot going on. I get that.
Yeah. That's the thing with RuneScape. I'm playing that, like, I'm making like no progress, but I'm playing it like 4 or 5 hours a day while I work. It's just, it gets like overwhelming. So I've like, it's like this weird feeling, because we first started talking about, video gaming has been such a big thing in my life for like as long as I can remember. Like, I've always been, if I was bored, I'll just boot up, play some video games. But now I'll boot it up and I'll be like, I just not really feeling it.
Yeah,
and it's weird. It's like
I
this
think
void.
It's that work life thing that you were talking about. So like if you game at work, or you are at work doing like things on your computer all day, and you get home, you just don't want to be on the computer, and it's pretty hard.
So yeah, no, that's it's like, yeah, and it's weird. And then when you don't feel like it, if you've always spent hours each day playing it, it's like this weird void that's now like, well, what do I do? I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah,
and then especially with my back being thrown out, I'm like, I literally can't do anything else. So like, this is,
it's one of the reasons I chose my career. Like, I love doing outdoor stuff, but it's not possible all year round, and I do like gaming, so it just goes along with the balance, and you know, it's worked out.
It is a great balance, and like, even if you're able to just do some exercising, that makes a huge difference. Like, sometimes when I got burnt out of gaming, I go do some exercising, even just
like getting up and like doing the dishes or taking a shower. You know, if you have a whole day off, I usually like do it, and I can grind all day on Skate, but I'll usually play, like, I never get 6 hour logged. Like, I'll go play a couple hours, I'm feeling a little tired, I'll go and do something for a half an hour, and then I'll come back and then, go for a run or go play some soccer, whatever.
It's good to keep that balance. You don't get burnt out. I know there's like some people who I talk to Deegan sometimes. He does like a bunch of gaming, and he's like similar habits, but we've talked and he'll be like, I'm not even really having fun, but I just not really sure what else to do. And he'll just kind of like push through it,
Yeah.
Anywho, so I guess runaway of saying that's what's been going on in my real life. Nothing's been going on really.
So nothing's been going on. That's fair. What about your RuneScape life? That's the real important one that the people want to hear about.
Yeah, I was gonna get to it as well. Since I play it all day at work, it's all coming together now. We're wrapping everything in a nice little bow. Because I was playing RuneScape during the day, I'm constantly doing like AFK stuff on my main, and I was doing a lot of leagues, so I was doing like a lot of the AFK skills like fishing and woodcutting. But what happened was I ended up like maxing out my fishing and woodcutting. Besides being able to AFK, I wasn't really making a whole lot of progress in like my combat or anything else, and it kind of dawned on me, which it did last league, and it happens to a lot of people where you're like, I'm not going to get to where I want to get before it's over, and you end up kind of like just fizzling out, right? You kind of lose the motivation to keep playing it. That kind of happened to me. So now I'm playing my Iron Man again. So we're back there. There we go.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm back. Back on the Iron Man. But it's fun. I'm still at Wintertodt, and I'll probably be here for a while.
Oh, that's okay. I'm pretty sure there's someone in our CC right now, Annie. She's like going for a tome is like, I don't know, 19 mil fire making or something crazy like that.
Jesus.
It's like at some point you just gotta give up. The tome is not that good. But there's like, it's like a moral thing, like you have to get it at some point. But
yeah, you spend so much time doing it.
I respect the grind. Just go get it. Just go for it.
Can't let the game win. You gotta win over RuneScape. So
exactly. It's like me with my blowpipe. You just have to go for it. It's worth it when you get it for sure.
So yeah. Anyways, on that note, how's the grinds on your end?
All right. So I kind of got spooned a little bit of Bandos and stuff last time I updated you. So I had just hit 95 Slayer, and I did my Elite Diaries to prep for Hydra.
Okay.
So I did the Karend Diary, which woodcutting and what else? Craft blood runes, things like that. So I got the Karend Diary, so I had the infinite teleport.
Nice.
And then I got the Lumbridge one done as well with the smithing, so that I could get an extra block slot for Drakes when I finally got a task for them from Konar.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep.
So I went down to the Hydra pits. I was chilling, learning the boss. It's pretty easy. I call it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that would be my kitten who just knocked over a glass of water. Thankfully, it was empty. I'm just gonna go pick that up real quick. Bad boy. All right. So where was I?
You're entering the pits.
I was talking about Hydra. Yeah. So I went to the pits. It's slow as Aura. It's not a very hard boss because it's like a 5-tick cycle, and it doesn't like kill you nearly as quickly if you mess up. So I was enjoying the boss. I've got scales for days. I was using Bracelets of Slaughter, so I was gonna get about 200 kills on my task or something.
Nice.
And 88 KC rolls around. Ooh. I get the pet.
Oh, that's sick.
First major drop was the pet at 88 KC, which is a sick pet.
Yeah,
because it has the four morphs on it.
It is. Oh, is it 4? I guess it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the basic one. There's the electric, the flame, and the last phase, which has 2 heads.
Oh, so it loses its head in that last form?
It only has 2 heads left in the last form. Nice. Yeah, so it loses a head each form.
Oh, cool.
But so pretty unreal pet. Yeah, you hear the little guy in the background.
Yeah.
People in the CC will know that annoying meow. He's a
cat.
He's a special kitty, that's for sure. Okay, the cat has been dealt with. All right, so I got the pet at 88 KC. It was pretty nice. Yeah, the morphs looked good. What was I doing? Then I just kept grinding the boss. I did like 30 KC a night because I was working and stuff. And I got the Hydra leather, which makes the ferocious gloves at around 150 KC.
Oh, that's good, right?
And that's a 1 in 500 drop.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
It's great. Best in slot melee gloves.
Sick.
So I was fucking hyped about those. And then about 30 KC later, it was a Friday night, and I was just chilling. I was like, you know what? Lying in bed, 11:30. Let's go do one more Hydra trip before bed. Why not? Get in there, first KC, Hydra's Claw.
So what is that for?
That makes the Dragon Hunter lance.
Damn.
Yeah, you attach it to your Hasta, and then you're good to go.
Is it the Zami Hasta or the Dragon Hasta?
Yeah, Zami Hasta, which you get from, obviously, Zamorak.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
So there we go. I now have a Dragon Hunter lance, so kind of, like, in a way, completed Hydra. I don't have the ring, but it's pretty useless.
True.
It's only really good at, like, super scale challenge modes.
Interesting.
Or super scale raids. So basically completed Hydra on my first task.
Yeah, that's
It's spoon for sure.
that's amazing.
Yeah, so that was nice. And that's pretty much been it. And then I've just been hard raiding now that I'm, like, pretty much set for raids. We've been going ham at raids. Last night we got a back-to-back purple. Not in my name, unfortunately, but Buddy Wee's got some Ancestral Bottoms.
Ooh, nice.
And my friend got an Elder Maul. So
That's okay. That's sweet though.
mega rare. Yeah, it's like bittersweet getting the Elder Maul, you know?
Fill out that
It's
collection
so
log.
rare.
You can use it for a few
Exactly,
things though,
that's
right?
all.
Like
Yeah, he's not an Iron Man, so that's why it was kind of sad for him.
Yeah.
But if I was to get an Elder Maul, it would be nice. You could use it at Calphite Queen or Solo Tecton.
okay, yeah.
Lots of different options for it. It's not a terrible weapon to
Cool.
have. And that was that.
It's pretty good. That's a pretty good
pretty good week or like 2 weeks or whatever.
solid.
So now I'm pretty much done Slayer, so I can start grinding whatever. I haven't done Sire, I skipped it, so that's an option. I've also got a little bit of skilling to do.
Do you skip Sire just because it's not the funnest to do?
Yeah, kind of a sucky boss without max gear. And now that I have max strength, because I have tacits as well,
Oh, nice.
it's pretty chill to do.
Cool.
So I might start that, try and get a bludgeon. Because it's weird now that I don't have my Hast anymore. Hast is actually a better crush weapon than the Dragon Hunter Lance against non-dragons. So I don't really have a crush weapon anymore. So I'm either going to go and get another Hasta or get the bludgeon. And we'll see how that goes.
Oh boy, that could be a fun grind.
Yeah, and then I'll just grind some raids. And I've been teaching quite a few raids, so I've been teaching some new people.
Nice.
And it's always really fun to do.
Would you say learner raids are your favorite compared to like the old sweaty speed runs?
I love a good 3+4, like a real heavy scale.
Yeah.
I also love teaching, so I kind of just like all raids. I just like hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
And having a good laugh, you know?
Definitely, yeah.
That's the best part about raids for me. So like solo raids are not really enticing for me because I don't really want to just grind that content solo. Like, yeah, it's better points per hour and stuff, and more likely I'll get the purple.
Yeah.
But it's not really worth it because that's the best part about being an Iron Man is that it's the only content you can do as a group really is Tob and raids.
True.
So may as well take advantage of it.
Makes sense to me.
Yep. So it's been Scape.
Is that those are your updates right there?
I think so.
It's pretty hefty though. That's
we'll
good.
see. Oh, we've got bingo coming up too.
Oh, yeah.
It was nice that I got the lance for bingo, so now I can hop around. We've had about 15 people sign up so far for bingo. So maybe 3 teams of 5, and if we get more people to sign up, we can add another team.
Cool.
So remember, it's like a tile, and there's a bunch of objectives to complete, like, get a Hydra unique, get an occult necklace, and Weez and I went pretty hard on the math, so we balanced the board really well based on like efficient hours or not so efficient hours played. It was really fun.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw what you guys have been. It looks really good. You guys did a really good job.
Yeah, we spent an hour in Excel to make sure all the tiles were like an average amount, kind of similar, so the difficulty for doing each row was similar.
Yeah, okay.
So that you couldn't just like cherry pick certain rows because they were too easy.
Gotcha.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you know when it's starting?
Yes, it's starting on December 26th, so Boxing Day, and it's running for a week until January 2nd.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah,
And it's a 2 mil buy-in, and 70% of the pot is going to go to the winning team, and then 20% to the second place, and then 10% for like a community event. I believe that's our split. That's what we did last time, and it worked out well.
Sounds awesome.
So should be about 100 mil in the pot at least.
Damn. Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, and so if you're interested, check out that Discord.
Yep, exactly. And it doesn't really matter what level you are. Anyone can participate. I mean, it's geared a little bit more towards people getting into It's definitely a PVM bingo board. There's not a lot of skilling on. There's like almost no skilling on there. But you could still join in and help your team out. So there's room for lower level players as well. And it's a good way to make friends and get into content maybe you haven't done before.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm not sure if I'm going to be signing up, but I might. It sounds like a lot of fun. I don't want to commit and then be like,
Yeah, the thing is everyone plays a different amount, and we balance the teams based on, your not skill level, but how much you play the game and sort of like hours you can put into the bingo event, and how much money you have for gear, and how dedicated you're going to be. So if you can only play like maybe 2 days for a couple hours, you're still welcome to sign up, because there's going to be more people like that, and then each team will just get a person that has a lower participation rate, and that's not a big deal.
Sounds very fun stuff. So with that being said, should we hop into the news?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're tackling both June and July this episode. Some stuff happened, so let's start it right off. The Darkmire, the Sins of the Father quest, came out June 4th. Have you had a chance to do this quest?
Yep.
Yeah? What'd you think?
Yeah, it was fun. I liked it. I did it day 2 or 3. I did it with a guide.
Okay.
So I'm not a fan of just going into the quest blind and taking 10 hours to do it.
Fair enough.
It's oddly nostalgic. I really enjoy watching like Slayer music. I know it's a little bit less efficient than the wiki, but I like watching guides, especially for longer quests. I really enjoy it.
That's fair.
So I waited for Slayer music to drop his guide, then I did it. And it was a fun quest, man. Yeah, there was a lot going on. The boss fight was like reasonably hard.
Yeah, I died the first time.
Opened up some great content as well. You did?
Yeah, I died the first time. I don't remember why. I remember the second time I over-prepared and it was fine. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't use a quest guide because I've kind of decided, and it's something that I want to do on my Iron Man 2, is not use quest guides when I play. I'm probably gonna cheat and end up using quest guides for some stuff. But I was doing this hardcore Iron Man and PvP worlds, and I was like streaming it and stuff. And I was doing quests without using any guides because I thought it'd be fun to stream myself struggling through it. And it was actually kind of fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Did you use the guide to get the materials or no?
No, I didn't open up the wiki at all.
Just full send. You went in blind with no items.
Yeah, like there's Ernest the Chicken. There's that there's that thing at the bottom it's like a little puzzle. We have to hit the switches and it unlocks doors. There's like a dozen different switches, and it's like all these different combinations, and it's really confusing. Most people probably won't remember it because they used a guide, but I remember it because
I remember it. I remember from when I was a kid, that was a nightmare.
It's hard.
No guides back then.
It took me like an hour and a half, maybe even longer to do it, because it was tough. But so yeah, I didn't use a quest for a guide for this one, but I don't think it was that difficult. I was able to finish it. It might have taken me 2 days. Not like I wasn't like playing like 8 hours a day, but I think I beat it over the course of 2 days. But I don't remember too much about it. But it was good, and the area is cool. So it came with a whole bunch of content, a whole whack of content. So the first one is Firewatch Sentinels, and you can also pickpocket some of the Firewatch citizens, I guess you want to call it. Bear with me while I open up the wiki.
Yeah, so Firewatch Sentinel, I kill a lot of them.
Oh, you do?
So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that comes from them, there's 2 cool things about them. You can get them as a Slayer task. They're also extremely AFK because they're always aggressive towards you if you're not wearing the noble outfit. Mm-hmm. And there's a prayer altar right there, so you can pray piety and protect from melee and just smash them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And they drop about 1 in 1,500. They drop a blood shard, which I think is 8 mil. So it's a decent like AFK money maker. It's not the best, but it's not bad. And the blood shard, I mean, we talk about that in a bit, but it's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So it drops a blood shard. And I know when it first came out, a lot of people were kind of skeptical of its uses. Personally, I don't really know its uses, but I do. It's 6 mil, so people are using it.
It's very good. So it's the idea behind it is you attach it to an Amulet of Fury, and when you're meleeing only, it will give you, I actually don't know the numbers, but basically for every hit, there's a percentage that it will heal.
Yeah, so there's 20% chance to heal 30% of the damage you dealt.
Okay, so yeah, if you hit a 10, you're going to heal 20% of the time. 60% of the time works every time.
Hell yeah.
So it was quite weak at first. The numbers like just weren't worth it. And then what happened is they buffed it, and now it's at a reasonable level where it's actually like a usable item. So the idea behind it is you take it to places where you can't get a lot of food, places where you might take Guthans in the past, and now instead of taking Guthans, you just have a one item that's going to be able to heal you up. So God Wars Dungeon, it's really, really good at Bandos if you're solo meleeing. It's good at Zami if you're meleeing that. It's really good at Nightmare, I've heard. I don't do Nightmare, but Magpies would be able to talk about it. I know it's very useful there to be able to heal up over a long fight. It's basically anywhere where you want to be healing over a long fight. Even, it has potential uses in Chambers of Xeric as well.
That's cool. I'm glad it has its uses, because I remember a lot of people were shitting on it when it first came out.
Yeah, they undervalued it, but they didn't undervalue it. They released it with weak stats because healing items have the potential to be broken in any game. In my opinion, healing is always the thing that's the hardest to get right. League of Legends, Overwatch, you look at any game, healers are always the most busted thing in the game. And when they're too strong, it's not fun. So they released it with lower stats to see how it did, and then they buffed it, which is much better than releasing it being broken and then nerfing it.
Yeah, it's totally fair. And the cool thing about the Blood Fury, or the Bloodstone, what was it called? The Blood Shard.
Blood Shard.
You can also pickpocket from the vampire citizens in the area. So it could be good moneymaker.
It's not bad. Yeah, I think it's actually more efficient to pickpocket them. It's not as AFK. Yeah. And if you're wearing Rogue's outfit, you can get two.
Yeah, that's wicked.
If you pull one.
Could be very good. All right, but moving on. Next we have the Dayalt Essence Mine. Is this something you've partaken in?
Oh yeah, I love Dayalt Essence.
All right, you want to break it down?
Yeah, so basically Dayalt Essence is an alternative to regular rune crafting. It's instead of using pure essence, you use Dayalt Essence, and it gives 50% more XP at any altar when making runes. Obviously outside of blood and soul runes. So, but the catch is you do have to mine it yourself. It's not tradable.
Right.
So it's stackable. You mine it in the underground below, I can't remember that city's name, Darkmire. And you can mine about 4,000 pure Dayalt Essence per hour, which is like 2 hours worth of rune crafting. So I looked into the math when I was doing 77 rune crafting on my Iron Man, which I don't quite have yet. From 65, it takes about 45k essence, which is 10 hours of mining. And then that takes about 20 hours or so at ZMI. So about 30 hours in total to get 77 rune crafting.
That's brutal.
You following me? So 10 hours of mining and then 20 hours of rune crafting. But if you were to use pure essence, it's something like 29 hours of just straight rune crafting. So it's technically 10% less efficient to mine, but instead of rune crafting the whole time, you add 1 hour of mining and it's a lot more chill because it's like a very AFK. And
it's stackable, right?
So it's stackable, and they rotate every 30 seconds. There's 3 pillars,
that's where they get you.
And you have to click on only one is active at a time, and you just click on the next one.
Gotcha.
So I highly recommend anyone who doesn't like rune crafting but wants to get level 77 to do Dayalt Essence. It's highly worth it. It's super AFK. I did it while I was writing my report cards for 10 hours. I just mined Dayalt Essence, and I just got the idle notificator to ping me every time. And the fact that it's consistent, it's not random, it's like every 30 seconds you have to click, makes it very, very nice.
There's the answer to people who hate rune crafting up until level 77. It's still slow as hell, but yeah, it's the beauty.
Still slow, but like in my warped sense of what a grind is, 30 hours is not bad at all.
Yeah, you know what? You just tackle it when you're doing report cards.
Exactly. Well, yeah, it's really like 20 hours of rune crafting and then 10 hours of like AFK mining.
Yeah, okay.
So,
God,
I would highly recommend it. It's a little bit less efficient, so if you're not a sweaty gamer, it's the way to go. I know a few buddies of mine also did it, and no regrets from anyone.
Yeah, that's why they brought it in, to give something a little bit more AFK to help you get to 77. Yeah, so if you don't know 77, it's even more AFK. The experience is still slow as hell though, but that's okay.
Yeah, 30k an hour. Yeah, blood runes at 77. But there's a lot of diaries connected to rune crafting. So if you're looking to crank out some elite diaries, I think more than half of them have rune crafting requirements. So
right.
You need to get it done at some point if you're going to go into the late game and want the diaries completed.
Next, we're moving on to the Hallowed Sepulchre. Have you done this?
I have tried it, but I have a lot of friends that have told me about it, so I'm somewhat knowledgeable.
You're well versed. I forgot how I was going to phrase this. I had a witty way of... Anyways, you've heard from third parties how good it is. So have I.
You can just call me a straight up nerd. It's okay. I know all about the content.
No, I've tried it too, and I tried on like maybe day 3 when I first unlocked it, and it's funny. I remember the community. Everyone hated it. They're like, "This sucks. This is hard, and it's not fun, and it's shitty experience." And you give it a couple months though, and then people are like, "I love it. The experience is okay. You can make some decent money, but this is such a fun way to train agility."
Oh yeah.
Which is like my answer to I hate agility. Hopefully, I haven't gone back and tried it, but it's on my list of like I need to learn it because it looks all right. It has this mechanic to it that I'm a huge sucker for, where you can unlock things and items to use at the Haloed Sepulchre to make your runs even faster, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's pretty common in RuneScape. Like,
I guess it is.
Content from the boss or stuff making it better.
True. For some reason, Haloed Sepulchre makes it seem a bit different because you're going to unlock like a grapple or like a crossbow, and then you can now grapple over this one side area. So for me, I have like a tunnel vision on those things, and I'm like, I don't know. I could easily YouTube it. I don't know what the crossbow is going to let me do or what that area is going to unlock, but I want to do it so I could find out. And then you do it, and you're like, oh, it's more of the same. But what about this coin? I can't remember. I can't think of any of the other items. But
yeah, so basically think of Hallowed Sepulchre as like agility, but where your clicks matter. So where you click on the map is very, very important to being able to do it efficiently. So in a way, it's like baby raids for, skilling. I think it's really sweet, engaging content, and you do have to be paying attention. But now that it's kind of solved in a way, people know how to do it efficiently. There are lots of great guides out there, and the experience rates are really quite quality. I know a friend, I think he was telling me he was getting he's 80 or so agility, I think 60k an hour, and it goes up to like 90k. So it's comparable to, I think it was meant to be slightly better than rooftops, but obviously less brain dead than rooftops.
Right. And it's funny because I've always been wanting an AFK way of doing agility, but maybe the part of the problem is that rooftops are just so boring that for content that boring, I want to be able to AFK,
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're not like rooftops is awkwardly in between. Like you need to be clicking consistently all the time, but you can't just sit there and get XP like cooking or whatever.
I used to get in these arguments with people, usually on Reddit. I used to have a problem with getting into fights with online and on social media and stuff.
Love to see it.
And I'd be like looking like what's the most AFK thing, like way to train agility? Is there any AFK things? They're just like, what are you talking about? The Ardone rooftops are AFK. And I'm like, no, like I want to be able to like work while I'm doing agility.
Yeah, I just don't think you can. I think it's one of those, and that's why it's such a hated skill, because you can't really AFK it. You have to be paying attention.
Yeah, that's it.
Whereas most skills in the game, you can, AFK them. Even rune crafting at blood runes, you can AFK them to an extent.
Yeah, you won't be super efficient, but like some of the paths, like the way you have to walk, you can click on it like a part of the map, and you'll walk for 30 seconds, and that can be perfect.
It's similar to like blast furnace and mining, where you just have to kind of like be consistently clicking, and it's annoying. So the skills aren't that loved, and I think those kind of skills. Those skills would be a lot more hated if their experience rates were worse. Like a blast furnace, for example.
Yeah.
Not very fun to do, but it's fine because you can get 350k XP per hour doing gold ore. So you can just power it out quickly. Whereas agility is like, even if you're paying attention, you get 50k an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
Rune crafting, paying attention, you get 30k an
Nice.
hour. Mining is like 50, It's not great.
Yeah, but I think being able to AFK it, someone can spend the day working and they look and they'll go like, wow, I only got like 70k experience, but like over the course of a month, that's a few levels.
Exactly.
So yeah, the Haloed Sepulchre. But one of the big rewards from it is the Ring of Endurance.
Yep, currently going for 66 mil on the G.
That's right. So that's a fair chunk of money, which also means the Haloed Sepulcher can be decent money, right?
One of the best money makers in the game if you're doing it at 92 agility.
Damn, see, there it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think it's definitely in the top 10 based on getting a ring drop, you know. So it's good money if you can, you know, get up to that 92 agility mark. Even at 82, you know, still have a good chance at the ring. So
the wiki is saying, yeah, at 92 you can make like almost 3.5 mil an hour. So
which is comparable to high level bosses. Like I think Zulra's I actually don't know anymore. It's been a while.
Fair enough.
But I bet you it's comparable to Zulra for sure. But I mean, getting to that high level is the tough part.
Mm-hmm. Now,
but the fact that a skill can make you that much money is really sweet.
Yeah, it's a huge game changer, especially because like.
Do we talk about what the ring does, or should we say?
Yeah, let's get right into that. So, do you want to explain what the ring does? Otherwise, I'm going to read right off the wiki.
You can read it off the wiki, but basically Cole's notes is that you can put staminas in, and it doubles the period that you have your stamina for.
Right. Yeah. So you can run forever. This sounds
instead of 2 minutes, each dose lasts 4 minutes.
This sounds like it'd be huge for Iron Man.
It would be. Hell yeah, it would be. I'd love to get one. But the problem is agility is one of those skills that you usually end up maxing last on most accounts. So by the time you get the ring, you're probably already done smithing. Smithing is where it's useful. It's also useful anywhere where you're running a lot. I think Blast Furnace is probably the best application, but to be honest, I've never used one. I never bought one.
Yeah, okay.
So it's hard to say. I'm browsing over the skills right now, and I can't remember where else it's useful. But I know there's several places in the game.
Questing. I mean, if you were still questing and you had the money,
if you want a 66 mil item and you're still got quests to do, then be my guest.
Yeah. But, maybe somebody loves agility but hates questing.
Yeah, my God, that's hilarious. So yeah, it's a cool item, and I think it's really good. I know some people used it Cerato in God Wars, like to run around the ring.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's best in slot. It might be best in slot if you have a T-bow, but that's
it does count as a Ceradoman item.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it makes sense because everything at the Sepulcher counts as a Ceradoman item.
Right, because the lore, it used to be a Ceradoman city.
Exactly.
Right,
yeah.
and then Zamorak came in and fucked their shit up.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah. Classic. So
yeah, the ring's a sweet addition. Nice money. Really glad it's in the game.
So that's not the only addition, though, and I actually didn't really even know of this one. The Strange Old Lockpick. This lockpick will allow you to bypass all Barrow's doors. It is tradable when it has its full 50 charges. A charge is consumed when you use it to open up a door.
It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
If you're doing it's cool in Iron Man if you're doing you're looking for one specific item. I believe you can just go into the tunnel that you want, find your tunnel, go down, and then just crack the chest and just go for pieces really quickly.
Huh. Nice.
I think it's the meta. I haven't done it, but I know a friend of mine has some lockpicks, and he's been doing that, and he's gotten a lot of Burroughs items from it.
Oh, cool.
So it's really sweet. And I don't know, are they tradable?
Yeah, at full charges.
Would you be able to tell me?
So they're about 45k.
And it unlocks 50 doors. So I think it's definitely worth it if you're a main. And you can just bypass the doors and skip all that time. And if you have a good door spawn, you don't have to use it. And I think that's sweet.
Yeah, no, totally. Because sometimes you're having to waste so much time running around and around. It's amazing. Besides, along as we kind of mentioned, some of the other rewards are like a haloed hammer, a symbol, focus, grapple, a haloed ring. But these are just to help you make the haloed sepulcher a little bit easier for yourself. So you'll take less damage, or maybe you'll be able to skip an area. It's got they got their uses, but it's a mechanic that I'm a huge sucker for. Even though, like, in a nutshell, that is what kind of RuneScape is in total, but this is very much more cut and dry, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's I think Sepulcher, and then we haven't even talked about possibly the coolest part of it.
Yeah, let's get right into it. What do you think?
The Dark Graceful.
Yeah, the cosmetics. So the last two are two cosmetics. It's the recolor for Dark Graceful and a recolor for your giant squirrel.
Yeah, so I got two things. I love both of them. I think the squirrel like doesn't look super different, but it's still interesting that there's a metamorphosis for it. I do not like how much it costs. I think it's ridiculous that it takes like 50 plus hours to recolor your squirrel.
Yeah.
Where it takes like it takes a trip to the G with a cash stack to recolor your pet Phoenix or your farming pet. Or your Rocky, you can literally do it for free without anything at level 1. So I think there's a huge divide there, and I think it should be a lot easier to metamorphosis your squirrel. I'm also biased because I have the squirrel. Yeah, it's a cool update. I still like that it exists. But Dark Graceful is sick. It came out and it was called Graceful because it was actually just gray.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't dark. It wasn't even dark. It was just like a gray Graceful set and it was pretty lame. But since then, the mods gave into peer pressure and made it dark as hell. So now it's like actually black Graceful.
Cool.
And it looks sick.
But that's in a nutshell. That was basically Darkmire update. But it wouldn't be a classic RuneScape update if there wasn't some issues that come on afterwards. So quickly, we'll talk about the issues that happened, which was when they brought out the game. I guess they took the item IDs some previously existing item IDs and applied them to these new items. I may explain it wrong, but basically that's what they're saying, so that people would log in and they wouldn't have their twisted bow anymore. Instead, they'd have like the acorn, or they have some weird item.
Little bug things, right?
Yeah, so they had to roll it back.
I believe it got fixed.
So they said there was about over 1,000 items that were affected and almost 846 accounts affected in total.
Yeah, you hate to see a rollback. I heard of a guy getting the Bandos pet and then he got rolled back.
Oh, that's
on his Iron Man. Yeah, that was a rough one.
That sucks. That's you can't do that to a person.
I mean, you hate to see it, but I don't like rollbacks, but something like that, you just got to fix it.
Yeah, you got to do it sometimes.
So,
but
I think content-wise, Darkmire's and the Sins of the Father is like a 10 out of 10 update for me.
Yeah?
They just hit on everything. They affected 2 skills that are really hated. And even after some tweaks, I think, they were conservative at first, which is fair, but they put in the work to make the changes necessary, and I think it's just such a good update to 2 skills that badly needed some help.
Yeah.
I still think rune crafting could be better, but adding Dale Essence is at least giving people another option.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It brought in a lot of new content, which it's a nice variety,
Yep.
But moving on, we got a bunch of a handful of smaller updates. So quickly going through it, we got some more recolors that came along with it. It seemed like the squirrel recolors kind of got people hooked, but because after that came the raccoon recolors.
Yep.
So you could change your Rocky, the raccoon, into a red panda or a tanuki. What the hell is a tanuki?
I'm not fully sure, but Red Panda is 10 out of 10 adorable.
Japanese raccoon dog. Wow.
There we go.
Interesting. So yeah.
From what I've seen, Red Panda is the favorite of the people.
It looks really nice.
It looks really good. And I think Rocky, no offense, is kind of a lame pet, but with the Red Panda, it just became so much better.
Yeah, that's fun. After that, anything else worth mentioning? No, just that. They did some rebalance to Hailed Sepulchre, but at this point, you probably already know. Moving on to the next thing. And I actually noticed this as well, and it's interesting to see that they put this whole thing out. But basically, there was a large amount of... I'm not really sure what it was, but somebody got a hold of the old RuneScape usernames that you would use to log in if you have an older account, and they were trying to recover that account. So you would have got an email saying, this username, this is your account with this username, it's trying to be recovered. So a lot of people that happened to, and I think even a friend made a video about this, but I noticed I got an email from some of my old accounts. I mean, they just said, don't do anything. If you aren't trying to recover your account, don't just ignore that email. It's going out because the person can't get your password. Yeah, but there was a bunch of their data got compromised, it seems like. So, yeah, you might have seen those
Yeah, I remember it happening.
Yeah, set up a PIN, set up an authenticator, and that should solve 99% of the security problems. 99%, maybe less, but still. Okay, moving on. This is another big one. This is actually a huge one that I was so happy that it finally took they finally decided to bring this into the game. And that was they changed the way the old school RuneScape death mechanics work.
Yep, unreal change. Yeah, we should go through this one. This one was
yeah,
really
and
good.
I'm very happy they went this way. So if maybe you just started playing like this month, the way the death mechanics used to work was if you died, your items remained on the ground for, was it an hour?
Yep, 1 hour.
1 hour. So your items would remain on the ground, but nobody could see it. And they would stay in one world, and you could go back and you could collect it. But basically what this meant was if you died, nothing negative happened except for now you had to run all the way back. It was more of a nuisance to die at a boss. But if you died, you now had all this food on the ground that would last for an hour, so you can now double the length of your trip. That's what happened to me all the time at Cerberus. I get killed there. I would be annoyed that I had to run back, but I didn't really care because I know that I would be able to stay there for like 40 minutes because I had so much food on the ground to pick up. But they changed it so that now when you die, I'll just go through it. So they changed the whole death mechanic, and it works kind of, I guess, more similar to how RuneScape 3 is, which is, it's nice. So the reason, maybe we should, the way it used to be was your items stayed on the ground for like 2 or 3 minutes, but after like 1 minute, everyone could see them and they could pick it up off the ground.
Back in the day, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So they had to change it because when old school RuneScape came out in 2013, there was so many DDoS problems going on where like they would DDoS a streamer or something, so they would die and lose all their items, or people were just dying because of the server lag and they would lose all their items. So they made it so like, okay, we're going to put a 1 hour timer on here and nobody can see them so that people aren't like incentivized to try to make you lag out and die.
Exactly, yeah.
But then it caused a problem, and now we have what we have now. So, Heartless, you want to go through kind of how this death mechanics works?
Yeah, so like we said before, if you die before, unless you're in an instance, everything would just drop on the ground. And if you're in instance, it would drop on the ground, but then the instance would wipe, so you would just lose all your gear. The instances were things like bosses, like, what's the quest called? Dream Mentor, things like that. Whenever you're fighting a boss, Culnermancer, you have to watch out and maybe not to bring too much risk, Gluff, stuff like that. But now what happens is when you die, all of your gear and, stuff like drops and everything like that, basically not potions and supplies. No, so not food, potions still drop on the ground for an hour wherever you were. But all your other stuff goes into a kind of like a chest, but it's I believe it's a gravestone. So and then you can pay fees to get them back. So I think I can't remember, 10% of G, no, not 10% of G value, 5 maybe? It's supposed to be a gold sink, so you do have to pay to get your items back. Items that are under, I believe, 500k you don't have to pay for. I can't remember the exact specifics.
This is under 100k.
Under 100k, so untradables and under 100k you won't have to pay. But things like for example, if you drop a Zenite jewelry, it's going to be like 100k to get back out of your chest. So that's pretty tricky. That was really tough it's tough for mains to accept because it does cost. Like if you die at Cerberus, you could pay like 500k to get your gear back if you're in max gear.
True. But I mean, ideally, if you have that gear, 500k isn't that big of a deal.
Exactly, that's what I say. And I think the convenience is worth it because now if you die in an instance like God Wars Dungeon specific, or like inside a room like God Wars Dungeon, all your gear will be put in a loot chest out in the gravestone outside of the chamber.
Yep. So
you can go right click loot and you just take everything from it. And it stays there for 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, it goes to Death's Coffer, when it goes there, you can pick it up at any time. And it just costs a lot more money to get it back from Death's Coffer. So now if you die and then like DC, your stuff will go to Death's Coffer and you can just pick it up the next day whenever your internet comes back. Whereas in the old days, which is basically, before this death rework, if you died and your power is out and you couldn't get on mobile hotspot or something, like your gear's just gone.
But so the cool thing too is the 15-minute timer, if you log out, it stops. or if you lag out, even if you just AFK and you stop moving, the timer freezes after a few seconds.
So they've thought about power outages, which is the most common way to die probably is, your power goes out or, you DC from your internet, stuff like that. So if you log out, they've got you covered.
That's great.
So I think overall it's a nice change. It's a little bit annoying because you have to spend, money to get your stuff back. But the convenience, and I think specifically a God Wars dungeon where I plank all the time, it's really good. Then you don't have to get your kill count to go back in the door, Pick up
True. Right. That's huge.
So
it's massive.
It's a great change.
Great change for everyone except for Ultimate Iron Man. Or Alternate, or if you're a woman. But it stays the same. Like, it's the same how it used to be. So you have 60 minutes to go pick it up.
Yeah, Ultimates are not changed. They are the exact same old death mechanics because their entire game mode is around dying and leaving your stuff in a pile on the ground so you can go and do content.
Right.
So for them, it wasn't changed. I think specifically for Iron Men, obviously not hardcores, but us irons, this change was 100% positive because I have things in my bank that I don't use. So I have 5 black masks. I have 4 smoldering stones. Like, I have all these items, multiple arcane scrolls. I have all this extra money, 3 Aram's robe skirts. What am I going to do with all this junk? Trade it as my main? So now what I can do is you can stick items in Death's coffer if they're worth over a certain value. Like, I think it's 100k or something. And then you can use that to pay for your deaths. So I've stuck in 2 Aram's robe skirts. That gives me 4 mil. So now it pays for all my Zolr deaths, all my Theater of Blood deaths. That's 100k every time for those. All my Hydra deaths, all of my deaths on the ground at Cerberus, which must have been like 25. I died so many times there. So it was all kind of paid for by my duplicates, which makes it just an insane upgrade for Iron Man.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And for mains, like, I know it sucks to pay for your gear, especially if you're in max, but like, let's be honest, boys. Like, if you think about it, this is how death mechanics should have been the whole time. Before, they were just complete jank.
Yeah, like, so many times I would risk it because I was like, what's the worst case scenario? I have to run back.
Yeah.
But now it's like, the money is still minimal, but still, like, it has like a more sense of danger, I guess. Yeah,
and I died at DKs. Like, I went down almost immediately planked because I only took 2 brews or something.
Yeah.
And it took me like 2 minutes to get back, and that's probably one of the worst places to get back to.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, good change overall. Huge change. Obviously, came with some bugs.
Yeah. Oh, did it?
Yeah, so day 1, Wook, classic one. So Wooks immediately finds out that he was in the duel arena, and he died with like a Dragon Sammy on the side, and he was doing like a punching fight with someone, and then he walked over and looted because you can loot your chest from like 10 tiles away or something.
Oh, I remember he was doing a stream where he was gonna like try to break the game.
He immediately broke it. He just walked over to his loot pile, looted it, and grabbed his weapons, won the duel.
That's
just
so
for
funny.
Fun, but still. So yeah, looting it from a distance makes it really good because if you die, like say out in a boss's area, you can sit in a safe spot and loot it.
Okay, that's cool.
Comfortably, and you don't need to bring money with you; it'll come right from your bank.
Yep.
So or your death's coffer if you've got that filled up. And I don't know because I don't play my main or my alt at this point anymore. But there's got to be ways to buy stuff on the GE that's worth way more.
Oh, probably
has way more GE value than it is, and then you can stick it in death's coffer. There has to be some stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some list. There's probably some Twitter account. They have some like weird GE tracking accounts that will tell you what's good to alch.
Yeah, any of the high level PVMers will know what kind of items you could grease out if you want to save maximum money.
Yeah.
But it's nice because if you're a noob and your gear's worth like under 100k, you really don't have to pay much to get it back.
Yeah, it's very. I think it's 1k
for like something that's 10% of value. I can't remember. You'd have to look up the actual percentages, but all I know is Iron Men only have to pay half of the GE value of whatever mains pay. So it's really cheap for my stuff. It's like 5k for my black mask and stuff if I die.
And it looks cool. It adds to like the immersion of the game. Death's door or whatever you want to call it. It looks cool, right?
Death's Coffer? Yeah, so basically in any respawn point you can go, there's an entrance to Death's Coffer, which is basically just, the Grim Reaper's there, and you can sacrifice stuff to him and chat with him about death mechanics.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
And you're automatically sent there your first time when you die. So
yeah, that's true, and it gives you a little tutorial.
You get a rundown of how it works.
Very cool.
good update overall, I would say.
Yeah, I was waiting for this one. Surprised it took so long, but it's here. And I mean, I feel like there's so many updates.
Obviously, huge controversy in the Ultimate Iron Man community because now the way the game is coded, their loot piles, I believe, drop outside of the God Wars dungeon.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I mean, I'm not an Ultimate. I know it's a small community, but it does hurt. It makes their game mode easier because now it's not scary for them to die in God Wars dungeon anymore, whereas before it was, terrifying.
True. Well,
there was a dude that died at Saradomin on his ultimate, and he had like all his gear in the back, just hundreds of mils worth of gear. And the problem is he couldn't hop worlds because Sarah would aggro him every time because it's not a popular boss.
Right.
So he was going to lose all this shit. So he got his entire clan to go, and they just sent Sarah, and they would there was like 12 guys with T-bows slaughtering all the minions right away so that this ultimate could hop in the corner in every world to try and find his gear. I think he got it a minute before it despawned or something.
I think there's a YouTube video, right?
Yeah, there must be, because it was a crazy moment.
Because I remember that. If it's the same story, if it's not, but I think it was a different clan actually. They showed up and he was hopping worlds, and he like asked them to help, and they're like, let's do it.
Yeah, and I just remember tons of T-bows logging in, just slaughtering Sarah and the minions, and then they all just kept hopping together, and he got his gear back. But now I don't think that happens. It just spawns outside.
The RuneScape community can be a beautiful place sometimes.
It sure can.
So anyways, that's the death mechanics. Pretty cool. Good change. Good positive change all around. People aren't going to like it, but who cares?
Some people, yeah, but you got to change some stuff at some point. You got to like modernize how the game works.
Yeah, it's an old... You look at it, you're like, this is an old game.
It's so janky, the old system.
Moving on to the next update. It's nothing too significant, but it's kind of cool. It might come to a surprise. It was a surprise to me. I missed this one. The monkey backpacks. They have a whole... It's like 7 different transmogs you can get from doing the monkey madness Apatol agility course. So with the backpack, if you do 100, 250, 500, 1000, 1500, or 2000, you can transmog the backpack, and it can look kind of cool.
Yep, transmog hype train.
Oh yeah.
They all look cool, so I like that. Gives people a reason to do that course, which is actually kind of interesting.
Yep, definitely.
You have to be a ninja. I think you have to be a ninja monkey.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And that was our first. So now we're into July. That was our July one. This update, spoiler alert, didn't pass, but it was kind of cool to talk about. I mean, it would have been great to talk about for covering it, but too bad. Terrible at podcasting, but that's okay. This was the Boss Slayer Master. You remember this bad boy?
Vaguely. You'll have to refresh my memory.
So this was a Slayer Slayer Master that would only assign boss tasks.
Oh, yeah.
This was an idea, and the idea was it would basically run perpendicular, is that the word I'm looking for, with your other Slayer tasks. So you could basically have 2 Slayer tasks going at once. You could have an Abbey Demon task going with one guy, and then you could have your boss task, which could be like, I don't know, Dagonoth Kings. It could be, so you'd have those both going. And it was going to have its own point system that was going to give you some separate rewards. This was a way to keep basically endgame accounts kind of going, giving them stuff to do. You know, once you get 99 Slayer, you can keep doing Slayer if you want, but a lot of people do it. Like for me, I still do Slayer, but I only do it for the boss that it allows me to do. So this was something that could kind of give you a little break from that. It didn't pass. People didn't like it.
Yeah, it's just no, it didn't pass, did it? I was unsure about this one. I was unsure. It feels like a little. This is a controversial one, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
So I haven't really got to collect my thoughts on it, but basically it would kind of nullify the other masters at some point because you do just want to do Slayer. And then there was a bit. I was really worried about something like Konar becoming completely irrelevant because if it could, Alchemical Hydra could be sent on the boss.
True.
Then, that would no longer be a Slayer Master you would even consider using. You would just go right to this new boss task guy. So it was dicey for sure.
Yeah.
I see both sides of the argument. I think I ended up voting no, but the Combat Achievement Diary, which is about to come out and has passed the poll, I think fixes what people were looking for in a much better way than this did.
They kind of reworked this idea, but a lot of people weren't entirely thrilled about it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Mod Arcane is the one who worked on this, what I'm reading here, but he or she also was kind of new to the company. They were kind of a new hire. This was one of their side projects. You know, they have their, I think they called it FAP time. They call it tap time, but it really...
FAP time. Yeah, FAP time,
It really should, if they're Friday, it's like personal projects. Something cool you want to work on, go ahead, work on it. This was an idea that they came up with, and they pitched it out there. Community was very split, but a lot of people were shitting on it.
I mean, it's just such a huge buff to like late game PVM, where you can just go and get the specific tasks you want. And I know there was a whole thing about like only doing a certain amount of tasks per day, but then it seems like, well, what's really the point then? You know what I mean? It was, I just found it like, I liked the idea of getting into having more content for late game players surrounding PVM, but I think they needed to do it in a different way. And Combat Achievement, which is, basically Combat Achievement Diaries, which is coming out soon, is a much better solution than just adding a new Slayer Master where you boss only.
Yeah, so the positive thing from this proposal was that Jagex saw a lot of people did want they wanted something like this, just not this. So that's where they came with this new PVM Achievement Diary kind of thing. We'll be talking about that soon, though.
It's going to be an unreal update. I'm so excited for the PVM or Combat Achievements. It's called basically Combat Achievement Diaries.
It looks cool.
It's going to be really good.
So there's that. Moving on to the next update. We're getting close to the end here. I thought this was a cool one, was the Ferox and Enclave. So they added it's a safe zone, but it's like a little village. I don't even know if you want to call it a village, but it's like a little, I don't know. It's a little like town. I don't know what you would want to call it. What would you call it?
Like an outpost, maybe.
And barren, an outpost. There we go. An enclave, if you would. In the middle of the wilderness, but they moved Clan Wars. They moved Last Man Standing. I think that might be it, but they made it like that's where a lot of the PvP mini games got moved to. And there's a bank and stuff there.
And Clan Wars people used to use as like an ornate rejuvenation pool. You go into the Clan War portal and then reset. So now what they do is they put found basically an ornate rejuvenation pool minus the spec at Ferox Enclave. So you have a lot of people using their dueling rings to go there to reset their stats. So it's like a huge hub in the wilderness now.
And it's like more fitting because I like to do Last Man Standing, and they kind of like arbitrarily put it in the desert because that's where the duel arena is, and I guess on paper
it felt awkward, right? Like it didn't feel cool. Ferox Enclave, for those of you who have or have not been there, is so cool. It looks amazing in my opinion, and
it fits. And if you don't, it's fitting even in a lore sense because the wilderness used to be like a huge metropolitan like city, like it was a massive city of this like Zerosian empire, and then they got fractured and Zamorak came and destroyed that city too or something. And anyways, now it's a wasteland.
Cool. It's vibrant, it's tight, it's small, so like there's a lot of people in one area. It feels very like alive and vibrant. There's a lot of NPCs walking around. You've got LMS there with some really cool NPCs, and like the building itself is really nice.
And the area where like Clan Wars and Last Man Standing was before, like it was just randomly in the desert. Like I still don't really know how you would even get there. I would need to look at a mini map to like how you would walk there. I would just teleport there, but it definitely makes sense to have
this. Al-Kharid, basically.
Yeah,
it's in a nice location. It's cool. It adds a new place in the wilderness that you could teleport to and then go in to do wilderness content from.
That too. It's like a little hub where you can go. You're near green dragons. You're near probably more green dragons.
Anyways, zombies in the grave. I believe it's just below the zombies in the graveyard there.
Yeah, you're at a nice central location. So it's like it's great. It's great as an alternative to like the Edgeville Bank.
Yeah, and it's so, I don't know, I just love it so much. It's one of my favorite visual updates recently.
It's cool. I agree.
You can set your respawn point there for 5 mil, which I did.
Oh, nice.
It's the best respawn in the game. It's actually like I think a tick faster than Edgeville, so I used it for training prayer at the Wilderness Altar.
Oh.
You can bank. There's like a mobile banker that's closer than the chest, so I just highlight him, and then you can just easily click on him when you go to bank.
Oh, cool. Nice. That's fun.
So that was my quick prayer training method. You just go on Ancients, and then you bring a water stick, I call it.
Yeah.
You just grab 2 Law Runes, full bones, teleport to Gorok on the Ice Plateau, die after you finish your bones.
Sweet.
And you're back at Ferox. It's really fun. Like, I just like the whole update in general.
Yeah, it's cool. It looks really nice, and it's fitting. Sometimes there's things in this game where you're like, I don't really know why this is there, and it just is. Mm-hmm. And then they move it to like Ferox Enclave, and you're like, oh, this
Unpolled as
makes
well.
Sense.
Integrity change, they called it, but I just think it was great. That's the kind of thing I'm okay with being unpolled.
It was a good change.
It's not like buffing anything. It's just centralizing all of the stuff that we're already using.
Yeah, and maybe some PvPers might have a problem with it, but I also know it's a nice little hub for PvPers because it's like kind of central right in the middle of the wilderness. So very cool.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our final dev blog of the episode, and these are just a bunch of small changes. So first, these are very small changes. If you're wearing all of Barrow's or any set armors that have a set bonus, you can now see what that bonus does in the equipment menu.
Makes sense. You shouldn't have to open the wiki to play the game, even though that's how it feels in RuneScape.
Oh, totally. There's some games, like they're called wiki games. There's some games that are just like that. I'm trying to think of an example where like, Don't Starve. Have you played that game?
No.
It's like a survival game where you can craft, and it's like, people say it's like really good, and I have it on my phone, and it's really hard, and there's so much like weird content. Like I don't really understand what any of this does, and when I see people talk about it, they're like, yeah, it's a wiki game. You really want to have wiki on the side, and I'm like, that's definitely not selling me on the game.
That's kind of like it's like RuneScape.
Yeah.
I really do like browsing the wiki, though. I think a lot of players do. It's kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
There's just so much information there, and our wiki's really quite good.
Oh, I think it's probably one of the best wikis. It has like everything and more. Mm-hmm. It's really good, especially since it's now kind of like integrated into the game. Anyways, the final note, which is going back to the Ferox Enclave, is so when they first brought it out, it was members only. Not really sure how that worked, but Jags decided they said they were persuaded to make it available and free to play.
So is it? I don't know anything about free to play.
And they say it is. So
I wonder. I doubt the rejuvenation pool is probably not free, is it? That's probably the coolest thing about it. Like you have a lot. It's really good for low level Ironman as well because it's a close bank with the Ferox Enclave, and then you can reset your stats. It's so there's a lot of people going through there.
Yeah, it's cool.
A lot of mains as well. I used to go to Clan Wars all the time before I had my Ornate pool when I was a noob. So you have a lot of like lower level players kind of hanging out in the same area.
Oh yeah, okay. And then another cool thing that they said here that I didn't even notice was they have a little pub there, and they call it the Old Knight Pub, which is a little bit of a nice little reference to the Old Knight, the old school RuneScape player, like way back in like 2004 era.
He was rank 2, wasn't he, for a long time?
Yeah, he was like rank 2, and then he died.
Yeah, tragically.
Yeah, and there was it got replaced by, but there was a statue in the middle of the wilderness, and it was like, if you examine it, and it's like a lonely knight or something like that, and people always
it's still there. The one that's
still
near
there.
The bears, just above the rune crafting, the abyss. Yeah,
so that was like dubbed his tribute, but it was never like officially put there as his tribute. But
right. Yeah, he was a really nice fella, so that's nice that bit of a throwback to one of the game's greats.
Yeah, some heartwarming RuneScape trivia, because there's like a lot of it. It's really cool. You go and like look at like like RuneScape at this point, man. RuneScape's so old, it has its own history, right?
Sure does.
You got like Blue Rose, the first player who with 99 smithing and monopolized the smithing game. Like that's a crazy story where this character, like, you couldn't buy rune armor, and the only way you could get it was by creating it back in Classic, and this one player created it and basically was the only person you could get rune armor from.
Yeah, surely we're one of the only games with an actual massacre that's happened, you know?
Yeah,
we got some deep history, both good and bad.
And if you don't know of this massacre,
what it is.
Look up the Falador Massacre. It's a
'06 on YouTube.
Oh yeah, so good with that fucking Nightwish song.
Yep, yeah. That's a great video.
Awesome stuff. Okay, there you have it. There's your news for June and July. We did some record news covering. We might just catch up after all.
Yeah, overall it was a great summer for updates.
It was, wasn't it?
I think they've really been hitting it out of the park recently.
The summer I was playing consistently, and then I got super sick in August. Yeah, that's all coming back to me now. At the end of July and all of August, I was like so sick, and I wasn't playing any video games. Yeah, very cool stuff. And this is kind of where we wrap it up. So thanks for listening, guys. If you want to support the show, and this episode and all other episodes are brought to you by our Patreon supporters, which you can go to patreon.com/thewilderness podcast. Thank you so much for supporting the show. You guys are truly the best, and I can't thank you enough for helping cover funds for this show, because it does cost some money each month to keep it going, but I do appreciate it, and it definitely does take some stress off my back. But yeah, if you guys want to hang out with us in-game, Wild CC is the place to do it. Our Twitter is @thewildernessRS, and on that Twitter page, you can find a link to the Discord. So if you want to get on that bingo madness that, Heartless, you had mentioned at the beginning, that is the place to do it.
Yep. We've got a banger of a tune coming up for you as well.
Oh, let's hear what's the song of the week going to be?
So, it's from everyone's favorite place, the Underground Pass. When you go through the doors, it's called Iben. The first 20 seconds is pretty hype. So. Oh,
sweet. All right. So without further ado, let's get right into that, and we'll be back soon. We got some time off coming up because of Christmas, and I'm hoping to get some good old podcasting done. More news on that in the future. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. You can say bye, Heartless.